Welcome to Topper Talk, your number one Western Kentucky athletics podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Moffitt, and I'm joined by co-host Tyler Bailey. Hilltopper Nation, whether it's happening on the hill or on the road, grab those red towels, stand up and cheer, because it's up next on Topper Talk. Thank you for downloading and listening to another episode of Topper Talk Podcast. As always, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Topper_Talk and follow us on YouTube at Topper Talk Podcast. Share those episodes, share the link, tell a friend, spread the word because we're coming. We're going to keep on coming, doing this thing, getting as many people involved and just letting everybody know what we're doing. As always, I've got Tyler here with me, man. We've got a huge episode. We got a big guest. You ready to dive into this one?
Dude, this is going to be a great episode recapping a great effing game. Let's do it.
Now, let's talk about our sponsor, and that is the Fireman Moving Company. They are the official moving company of WKU Athletics. Not only can they be trusted to move all the coaches in and out of Western, but they can move you anywhere nationwide. The Fireman Moving Company is owned and operated by firemen and is founded by WKU alumni. If you are looking to move anytime soon, give them a call at 270-791-1755 and get yourself a free quote. And I promise you, worth every penny that you will spend. They are professionals. They are fast. They are efficient. They will get you moved a lot faster than you, your friends, a 12-pack of beer and a couple pizzas will get you moved. I promise you. They're pros. Just let them do it. As always, we're going to jump into the Red Towel wrap-up. We're going to get caught up on all the WKU athletics we've missed since our last episode. So, Tyler, hit us with that Red Towel wrap-up. What did we miss?
All right, so on December 16th, the men's basketball got a win against the Governors of Austin Peay, 65-64. The women's basketball on the 18th got a win against Abilene Christian, 72-68. Then men's basketball turned around and played Cal Baptist, got that dubs in a 73-70, as Randy Lee would say, Tums tosser. Women's basketball then played Nevada. We got that win, 66-60. And then the Missouri women's basketball dropped the game to Missouri State, 68-69. And that's the Red Towel wrap-up. Moff, back to you.
Man, men's basketball's chugging right along. They're now 10-3. Best start I think I saw since like 2014-ish. Best start in a long time. Let's just say that. It's been a while. Rick Stansbury constantly overpromised and underdelivered. Steve Lutz and his team, their defensive intensity, we've kind of said that since game one, that their defense is going to keep them in every single ball game. And they're just winning games. They might be some grind out victories. 1-point win, 3-point win, doesn't matter. A win is a win. It goes in the left column. That's all that matters. We get a big game coming up versus Abilene Christian. And then we'll be jumping into conference play really soon. So it's a new look Conference USA. I think we open with Liberty, if I'm not mistaken. So I can't, I'm looking forward to jumping in and diving in a lot more to basketball season. Football season kind of fizzling out now. We're talking about the bowl game victory today. And then we're going to turn our attention to basketball and what's going on over there. So now let's get into that bowl game recap. We had the Famous Toastery Bowl game this past Monday at 1:30 p.m. WKU came into the game as a 4.5-point underdog. And it was revealed before the game that several of our players are not going to be playing. We had Austin Reed, Vinny Murphy, Contavious Leslie, Marquise Stepp, and Upton Stout would not be playing. WKU was expected to start redshirt freshman Turner Helton and rotate in quarterback Caden Veltkamp with series as well. Once the game started, WKU elected to defer to the second half. ODU scored on the opening drive. Turner Helton had a sack fumble on the next drive. ODU scored again. And then Turner Helton threw a pick six on the very next series, and WKU was quickly down 21-0, less than 5 minutes into the ball game. So what did we do? we turn to third string quarterback Caden Veltkamp. He came into this game with only 6 career pass attempts. He had previously, before this game, he had entered his name into the transfer portal, but he was still eligible to participate in the game. He comes into the game and leads WKU back to an improbable 38-35 victory. He was 40 out of 52 for 383 passing yards with 5 touchdowns and an interception. It's just absolutely, it was a star in the making moment. It was a pleasure to watch unfold. And we want to dive deeper into that game and the performance. And who better to get a recap of that game than from QB1 himself and the Famous Toastery Bowl offensive MVP himself, Bowling Green's own Caden Veltkamp. So let's go to that interview right now. All right, and we are joined by none other than the Famous Toastery Bowl offensive MVP. He finished the game 40 out of 52 for 383 yards passing with 5 touchdowns and only 1 interception in just 3.5 quarters of action. So thank you for joining us and welcome to the show, quarterback Caden Veltkamp.
Thank y'all for having me.
It's a pleasure, man. I mean, after that game, both of us could not wait to get on here and recap this, and having you join us is just kind of icing on the cake. I do want to jump into talking about the game, but before we do that, I want to touch on your background a little bit, because obviously you're a homegrown kid right here from Bowling Green, Kentucky. You played at South Warren High School, so you've had a front row seat to this WKU Hilltopper offense and just the magnificent and just excellent quarterback play we've had at WKU, over the last decade. So how did that experience and just being here locally influence your decision to want to attend Western Kentucky University?
Yeah, I was always going to high school here. I was always around Western, so I got to experience it firsthand. I got to come to games all the time because it's 10 minutes away from my high school. And I already knew some of the guys coming in too, so that was a big part of it. And I got, like you said, I got to witness firsthand good quarterback play. In 2019, I got to watch Ty Story. In 2021, I got to watch Bailey. So 2 really good quarterbacks that they've had here. And I got to learn from them. I got to pick their brain every chance that I got. So that was really cool. And was a part in playing to get me to come here.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can't blame you, because just watching those guys from a fan perspective, I was like, we're spoiled to great quarterback play. And obviously, now we've had Austin Reed for a couple of years. You've stepped in, first major game action, and we're just spoiled. We're spoiled to having great quarterback play. Now, I think another interesting tie is that we have your dad on staff. He's the director of football strength and conditioning. I think it's not uncommon for players to play under their dad, maybe in middle school, high school, growing up. But now, you're at the collegiate level. You're a D1 athlete in college. Like, what has that transition been like for you with your dad on staff now in college?
Yeah, it's been really good. I've loved playing for my dad, and I kind of told him when I came, like, I'm excited to play for you, but I know there's a lot of things that, do's and don'ts as a coach's son. Anytime my grades start to slip, he's on me about it, because he gets that grade report every week. So, there's some good things, and there's some stuff like that I'm like, I wish that wasn't a part of it. But, I love that he's in the office every day and I get to talk to him and, getting coached by him. And, I know he enjoys seeing firsthand the work that I get to put in, and, seeing firsthand practice and how practice is going and whatnot. So, I know he enjoyed the bowl game more than anybody else. He enjoyed getting to see me finally get a chance to go and seeing me play for the first time in, 2 years. And it's been really cool, because he didn't always get to go to my high school games, because high school games are on Friday, and they'd be traveling to the hotel or whatever. So he probably only saw me play half of my high school games. So it's been a blessing to be able to play for him for the last 2 years.
Oh, I bet it is. I bet he loves that. Another topic we got to touch on is you're currently in transfer portal. Everybody knows it. We've all seen the discussions about you maybe converting to tight end in the future. Um, have those conversations evolved since your bowl game performance?
Yeah, they've evolved a little bit. I've met with Coach Helton a little bit and talked to Coach Hollingshead, talked to a couple of other people on staff, and they want me to come back as a quarterback, and we're going to continue to have those conversations. And I'm not really sure where it's going to go yet. The conversations have been good, and they've told me they really want me to come back. I know the guys want me to come back, the guys on the team. So I can't give you again, just like at the end of the game, I couldn't tell them an exact answer. I can't tell you guys an exact answer because I don't know yet. We're still kind of early in the process, I would say. So, I would love to come back. But like I said, I can't give a definite answer yet because I don't have all the answers to all the questions yet.
No, we absolutely understand that. We respect that. We're not looking for an answer on what your future decision is going to be. We respect every athlete's right, especially yours, to explore their options and make the decision that's best for you in the transfer portal. Far too many times we've been the beneficiary of great athletes coming into our system from other schools. So when someone decides to look elsewhere, we completely understand that. We respect that. We're going to let that process play out. But we do want to let it be known that this podcast has been a fan of yours since you committed. We've been hoping you get a shot at QB1. And when that happened, it looked pretty good. So we're excited for what the future may hold. But I do want to get onto the game now. And I guess I have to ask, a lot of the fan base has been curious about this. At what point leading up to preparation for the ODU game did you yourself and Turner Helton know that Austin Reed wouldn't be playing in this ball game?
Well, Austin's been banged up for the last part of the year. I know Coach Helton said that in the presser after the game. And Austin's been battling injuries for like I said, the last half of the year. And that he's one of the toughest guys I've ever played with. And, I love Austin Reed. So, we kind of just took the approach of, we need to be ready when it's our turn to go, me, Turner, and Bronson. We all kind of just said, hey, we need to be ready to go just in case something happens and he can't go. And leading up into the FIU game, he was really banged up, and it really took everything in him to play in that game. So, Turner, Bronson, and I all prepared that week like we were going to play. And, thankfully Austin was able to play that week. And at the end of the game, we got up enough to where Turner and I could get some game experience, which was awesome for us. And then, after that game, we kind of knew that it was just his last game and that he was done. His body just couldn't take anymore. It had been a long season. He's played a whole lot of college football. He's the definition of a vet. So, when he said that he wasn't going to play, our team responded well and said, hey, that's all right, man. We love you. And everybody just kind of turned and said, hey, we don't know who's going to play, but whichever one of the three it is, we're going to rock with you and we're going to win the game regardless. So, that's kind of the approach we took going into the game. But we knew, the last half of the year that, we kind of needed to be ready to go just in case.
Yeah, I know a lot of people online was really curious about, was Austin going to play? Wasn't Austin going to play? But once the game started, the wheels fell off pretty quick. ODU comes down, scores on that opening drive. Then we have a fumble, it turns into points for them. We have the pick six, and before you know it, we're down 21-0. What was the mood on the sideline, and how were you feeling once you were told you were leading the next series?
Yeah, I don't think the mood on the sideline ever changed. It never felt like we were out. It never felt like we were out of it. You know, whenever they told me to get ready to go and get ready to go in the game, you know, I told the guys, I told the offensive line, I said, hey, look, don't blink. Like, we're going to drive the ball down. We're going to get points. You know, I know the first drive didn't end in points, but, you know, we drove the ball a little bit, got a little confidence in ourselves. But, you know, nobody ever really blinked. And it was good to see. You know, nobody ever thought we were out of it ever. When it was 21-0, when it was 28-0, we always felt like we had a chance. You know, as long as there was time left on the clock, we thought we had a chance to win the game.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, once you got in the game, you know, I think it was pretty evident almost immediately you led a successful drive kind of down the field. Obviously, it ended up in a fumble that was forced by the ODU defensive back Lamarion James. I also thought it was interesting that in the preview of this game, we talked about him being an impact player, somebody that could make plays, and all through this game, that guy was everywhere, just making plays. So, um, you know, ODU got a turnover. They went down, they scored again, made it 28-0. You kind of have already answered the question. You guys never felt like you were out of the game. There was still time on the clock. But, you know, they did score again. You're coming back out for that second drive. Were you still just feeling that confidence of, you know, hey, we can still get back in this, even though the odds, and we've all seen the ESPN graphic now, you know, there was a 99% chance at that point in the game that ODU was winning that ball game, but you're saying there's a chance, you know, so was the sideline and you were truly feeling like, hey, we're in this game. There's still plenty of game left for us to win this. You felt that way?
Personally, I did. I never felt like we were down. I mean, at that point, it was still the beginning of the second quarter. So we still had 3 full quarters to come back. And, you know, and with the offense that we run, we could score points like that. So, you know, like I said, we never felt like we were down. And when we went down 28-0, you know, all the offense kind of gathered up in one area on the sideline. And, you know, I looked everybody in the eyes. I said, look, man, we're going to go win this football game. It doesn't matter what it takes. We're going to go win. And I remember just seeing a spark in everybody's eyes, all the offensive line, the receivers, everybody, you know, they agreed. Everyone's nodding their head like, let's do it. Let's go do it. Let's make this comeback, you know, and it felt different, you know, it felt different, and it felt like we were going to win, even though, you know, the scoreboard really didn't seem like it.
Definitely, and I'm sure this next drive had to boost and skyrocket your confidence. You had big plays to River Helms, Easton Messer, Malachi Corley, and then you capped it off with the ESPN highlight catch by Dalvin Smith. We're back in the game, and we have momentum, still down 28-7. How was your teammates responding to your leadership, and did you know you had the keys to the game the rest of the way?
Yeah, I think that the team responded really well. You know, it's one thing to say that, you know, they responded while we were down 28-0, but, you know, when we scored on that first drive, it really changed a lot, because, you know, everyone was like, okay, we actually scored. We can actually do it now. They saw it. And then, you know, seeing is believing, I guess. And, you know, they saw that we could score and felt it. You know, the receivers, they played one heck of a game. Dalvin played one heck of a game. You know, he only needed one hand a few times. But, you know, those guys played their hearts out. And, you know, it's all credit to those guys. The receivers played well. The O-line blocked well. The running backs played well. The running backs did well in pass pro. The tight ends did well. You know, it was just an all-around team effort.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, up until that point in the game, you know, the ODU offense had basically been getting whatever they wanted in the RPO game. And they had been lucking into getting short fields with our turnovers. But it kind of felt like after that point in the game, we made it 28-7. They got the ball back. It felt like our defense just adjusted and started figuring out what they were doing and how to get off the field, stop them, and start making the right plays. Next drives ended up in punts, and then we had an interception. But luckily, you know, with the turnovers we had, that one didn't cost us any points compared to the other previous turnovers. We went into halftime. We were down 28-7. We were getting the ball back after half. So what was the locker room like? What was the discussions being had? What game plan was the coach and the coaches putting together to come out in the second half and really make a run at this improbable comeback?
Just keep doing what we were doing. We had a good plan offensively. Our coaches did a great job preparing for the game, offensively and defensively. And I'm a big believer in the fact that, the offense and the defense, they feed off of each other. So, once the offense scored that first touchdown, I think the defense settled in a little bit, and we weren't putting them in bad positions anymore. We weren't going 3 and out and punting. We were getting a couple first downs and then a punt, or the possession before halftime. We're driving down to kick a field goal, and I make a crucial mistake and I throw an interception. Luckily, there wasn't a whole lot of time left on the clock, and they missed the field goal. But the defense played really well. They settled in the whole game. They just kept getting stops, and when they kept getting stops, we kept getting momentum, and the offense just kept scoring. We kept scoring, they kept getting stops, and that's a recipe to win a football game. So, Coach Summers and that defensive staff did a great job putting together a game plan, and those players, man, they played their hearts out on defense.
Oh, for sure. I was, I didn't get to watch the game. I was listening to it, and I had some people, some of his coworkers, of course, they were in the first quarter talking some trash, and I was like, nope, I ain't hearing it. I left the room, went over to the news side of where I work, and I listened to that game, and I was having a field day over there by myself, just having a ball listening to that on the radio. Now, even though Austin Reed wasn't playing in the game, they did show him a lot on the sidelines, and oftentimes he seemed to be helping with the game plan, and might have been and what might have been happening on the field. Can you tell us about his influence and his mentorship and how that has helped you?
Yeah, Austin's one of my best friends on the team, and I've appreciated Austin every step of the way. When he's playing, he's always talking to me, Bronson, and Turner about what he's seeing on the field, or breaking down film with us and whatnot. And then during the game, he was taking a lot of heat and for not playing, and I don't think everybody understood why. And he pushed past that and said, hey, I want to come to the game, and I want to support these guys. I want to be next to these guys and coach these guys, because that's who he is. That's the kind of guy he is, and he loves us and we love him. So, during the game, he was coaching me up on stuff. He was like, dude, you're playing really well right now, but don't forget, you get this look, do this, you get this look, you can check this, you get this light box, make sure you're running it. You get an off corner, throw a screen out there. So, he was coaching me up. And then on top of that, Turner came off on the sideline, and Bronson both of them were coaching me up through the game too. And, I love hearing, that's just the kind of room that we had. We all love each other. We all coach each other up on what we're seeing, because what you're seeing on the field and what you're seeing on the sideline is different. So, if they're seeing something on the sideline that I didn't necessarily see on the field, all three of them were coaching me up on, what they were saying. And I appreciated them because, for Austin, I know it was hard. And for the other two, I know it was hard for different reasons. But, that takes a lot, and it shows a lot about our room and, just how much love we have for each other.
Yeah, I think Austin was an amazing upperclassman leader. Even not playing in this game, I've heard his perspective of, even him, he didn't announce his decision before the game. And I think that's his right. That's his, his decision. If he didn't want to announce that to the world, what was going on, the coaches didn't. His perspective of that, saying, hey, my decision opened the door for what we all got to witness. And I think he was very humble and very just right in his view that, the way it played out was the way it was meant to play out. Now, the second half of this game started, we received the kick because we deferred after we won the kick, or won the opening coin toss. We go down, we score, make it 28-14. The team trade punts. ODU scores again. They make it 35-14. We score again. Then we have an interception. We score again. It's 28-35. Like, all the momentum's on our side. ODU goes 3 and out. They punt it back to us. We're driving. Looks like another drive to, we're going to tie this game up. And then that fumble bug hits us again. Man, we have our 5th turnover of the game. And you just don't see many games that any team wins with 5 turnovers. ODU had a short field, ran some plays, a little bit of clock, attempted a field goal. We block it. Just you don't see 5 turnovers a ton. You don't see block field goals a ton. But we blocked that kick. We get the ball back with under 3 minutes to go. We had 64 yards to go to score to try to tie the game. We drive down to the 5-yard line. There's 30 seconds left on the clock. There's an incomplete pass. We take a sack on 3rd down. It's 4th and goal from the 15-yard line. I have been told that I need to hear how this game tying play call came to fruition. So I want to hear it from QB1. Tell me about that moment that you're in the huddle. This play's getting drawn up. Tell the fan base, how did that happen? We would love to hear it because it was a magical moment to watch, and we would love to hear it from you.
Yeah. So first off, let me just say, all credit to our special teams for putting us in that position. 2 blocked field goals. Talik and my roommate Marshall Jackson both blocked it, and Coach Lucia does a great job with those guys. But talking about the play, we came into the huddle. I think we called timeout after the sack, which by the way was a dumb play by me to take a sack on 3rd and goal from the 5-yard line to put us back. But we came to the sideline, and Coach Helton, asked me, "Hey, do you want to run 5 verticals essentially, or do you want to run this basically double post with a double move on from KD at the number 2 receiver?" And I was like, let's go with the double move play. I don't know why I felt like it was going to work. And he was like, all right, let's do it. Call the play in the huddle. Let's go. In pre-snap, I felt like we had to look for it. Dalvin was on the outside to the left, and I think a lot of people thought that, with the game he was having, that's where we were going to go with the ball, which didn't necessarily factor into the play call, but it's just how it ended up working out. And KD ran a great route on the inside, sold the curl, and then wheeled out to the outside. I took the snap, stepped up. The left tackle did a great job. Wes Dorsey did a great job of washing his guy out, and his guy spun off and had a path to me once I stepped up. And Colton Cable, our left guard, peeled off his block and came back and ended up getting the D end, which allowed me to step up and make the throw. But when I made the throw, I thought I threw it too far behind him. I mean, he was so wide open. It's just one of those, you're like, oh, don't miss. You can't miss on this one. But it ended up hitting. KD ran a great route, made a great catch, back shoulder catch. And that was that. I mean, it was exciting to finally know that we were going to go to overtime. I kind of thought we were going to go for 2, but I'm glad we didn't, looking back on it.
Well, I know Helton can be a gambler. I kind of thought maybe when Randy was calling the play on the radio that we may go for 2. But anyway, let's get to overtime. ODU gets the ball first. They get down to the 1-yard line. They can't punch it in. Our defense holds, and they force a field goal. We block that. What's going through your mind, and what instructions have you been given coming on the field with a chance to pull off this miraculous comeback victory?
Yeah, so I was just sitting on the bench during the whole defensive drive. I was sitting there by myself watching the last drive of the game on the tablet. They allowed us to use the tablets for that game or whatever. And I just kept watching the scoreboard, and they got down to the 1-yard line, and I was like, these guys just keep getting stops. Like, if they go for this or they kick a field goal, like, that's a win for us, for our defense. Ended up kicking a field goal, and Talik blocked it. After they blocked the field goal, I walked on the field. I was the last person that could be in the offensive huddle. And, Coach Drew grabbed me. He was like, hey, take care of the football. Do not turn the ball over. We have a chance to win the game. We just need points. I don't even remember what we called on 1st and 2nd down. I think we ran like a quarterback draw or something. And I tried to throw like a skinny route to Dalvin that we missed on. And then 3rd down, we ran a 5-man protection, had great pro, and I threw it to Easton over the middle on a shallow route, and he breaks the tackle and gets a first down. And at that point, we're in chip shot range for Lucas. So, he just ran a couple plays to center the ball up for him. Actually, I think we tried to take a shot to the end zone on one of them. I guess trying to end the game right there, but then centered it up. And, Lucas is a great kid, great kicker, and we knew he was going to put it through. I just kind of went to the sideline and honestly didn't even watch the kick. I was too nervous to watch it, but I had all the confidence in the world that Lucas was going to make it.
I like that you just said, I can't remember what we called. And then you literally just rattled off every single play by play, exactly what you called. Because as I'm making the notes for this episode, I'm going through the ESPN play by play. And I remember, yes, we ran and then we passed to Easton, then we passed to Dalvin, and then we ran it again, the end zone shot. You literally just, your brain's there. Like you had it play by play, exactly what we did, centered it. Lucas steps up, like he's been automatic all season. We've been a big fan of his all season. Split those uprights. The team rushes the field. All of a sudden, there's just toast out of nowhere. Was not expecting toast. I guess we should have. It's the Famous Toastery Bowl. But what was that moment like? Just this huge comeback victory, storming the field. You're in that moment, you're living it. What was that like for you just in the moment? You're literally, at this point, you're a household name. This is on ESPN. Social media is going crazy with this 6'6" quarterback that just came into the game as the third string, down 28-0, and led this team to an improbable victory. How did that feel kind of in the moment as you were soaking it in and living it?
Yeah, I think, like I said, I didn't watch the field goal. I couldn't watch it, and I was looking at the ground, and I heard everyone around me cheering and whatnot. And, I fell to the ground. I was so, just struck with emotion. I have so much passion and love for this team and for these guys that I was so happy that I was able to be a part of, us being able to come back and win the game the way that we did, and finish the season the way that we did, and send out a lot of the guys with their last game as a Hilltopper the way we did. So many people have said, that was the best game I've ever been a part of. That was the best game I've ever been a part of. And I'm like, honestly, me too. And I won a state championship at South Warren, and I thought that game was better than the state championship. For me emotionally. It's just been a roller coaster year, and so all my emotions came out as soon as we hit the field goal. And I hugged one of my best friends, Easton, and I hugged my dad, and it all just came out.
Yeah, I seen, even Pat McAfee was talking about it like the day after bowl season. I thought that was really cool. But after the victory, social media was ablaze with your highlights and Dalvin Smith highlight reel catches. How has the attention been for you personally, being back in the limelight as a winning QB1, similar to your South Warren high school days?
It's been decently similar. I mean, the college football world is a little bit different than the high school football world, but it's been cool to get some attention, and at the end of the day, that's not what it's about. I'm glad that Western Kentucky's getting the recognition. It's been 3 straight years after bowl games that Western Kentucky's getting a lot of attention from their game or whatever. So it's been cool to get texts, and a lot of people have texted and called, and some people that I haven't talked to in a long time. So that's been really cool. But I'm really just glad the university and the program's getting the attention, because this place deserves it, and it doesn't get it all the time. So for Western Kentucky to be back on the national spotlight like that, I know that Coach Helton appreciates it, and I know that Mr. Stewart appreciates it. So I thought that was very good for our program.
Caden, man, you are an absolutely wonderful representative of this university, this team, this program, even this city. I mean, Bowling Green, Kentucky. You're one of our own. We appreciate you taking the time to join us. I know the listeners of this podcast are really going to enjoy hearing how this game played out directly from your voice and how you felt in those moments. So we really appreciate you joining us. That was an epic victory that, like you said, it was the best game a lot of people have ever got to watch and be a part of and be a fan of. And I know there's a lot of Hilltopper fans, including myself, that will not soon forget this game. We appreciate you joining us. Obviously, we hope that you are back as a Western Kentucky quarterback one next season. But we also understand and we wish you the luck with the big decision that you have to be made in transfer portal. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking the time to talk about this big bowl game victory, and go Tops.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys having me on, and I appreciate, all the fans that supported us, everybody that came out to Charlotte, and everybody that supported us on TV and, supported us through Twitter and all that stuff. We appreciate you guys a lot more than, we get the opportunity to tell you guys. So, I wanted to come on here too and say that we appreciate you guys and all the fans that have been supporting us throughout the year.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you,
Awesome,
and
man.
have a good night. Go Tops.
Go Tops. Thank you.
Thank y'all. Go Tops.
Man, what a terrific, just amazing interview. Getting to hear directly from the person that led us to victory, Caden Veltkamp, and started into the game down 21-0, quickly became 28-0, led us back to victory, man. Just amazing to hear how that game unfolded for him and for his teammates and just how that felt in the moment. Tyler, we've got to jump into grades, talk about this game, just how amazing it was. So what is your grade for the offense versus ODU?
Well, I'm just going to go ahead and foreshadow this. Good. You look at what the offense or what we gave to ODU, a bunch of short field, quickly found ourselves in a hole. But then, Veltkamp comes in, slings that pigskin all over the place, gets us back into a deep, and I'm going to give them an A plus, because this was truly an insane game that I will not forget anytime soon.
Yeah, the offense was, if you take out the first 5 minutes of the game, we fumbled the ball, we threw a pick six, gave ODU short fields. They quickly scored on all those turnovers. It was 21-0 before you blinked an eye. You're like, okay, the game started. It's 21-0. When did ever a team start up 21-0? That's what happened. But after the offense settled in, we got Caden Veltkamp into the game. He just absolutely, the light flip, switch flipped on. He was a big time gamer. Came in there, threw for nearly 400 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. The offense was just clicking under his watch. We heard directly from him. Just everything came together. The team rallied behind him. Austin was right there with him. The other quarterbacks. He just said, "Let's go win this ball game." They were never in doubt that it was still a game that they could come back and win, and they did that. So the offense definitely deserves an A. Tyler, what about the defensive grade against ODU?
Well, after the really first quarter, first 5 minutes, our defense really held up strong and only allowed 14 points to ODU the rest of the game. The defense really held the Old Dominion rushing game to 196 yards. But if you look at it, Grant Wilson on that 79-yard scamper really was almost the lion's share of that. He had 8 carries for 126 yards. Callaway had 10 carries for 29 yards, 1 touchdown. Grant Wilson had 2 rushing touchdowns. We did have 1 sack on the game. I thought maybe we'd have more, but defense really held their own, and I'm going to have to give them an A plus as well, man. They really were instrumental in allowing us to come back.
Yeah, the defense really settled in. They were put in a bad position several times early in this game when it became 21-0. When you're playing in a short field, ODU's run pass option offense was really working, was really gashing us. Once we settled in, started moving the ball on offense a little bit, defense got settled in. We made adjustments, and we talked to our friends at the ODU Marinakis before this game. I talked to them after the game and said, what happened? What changed? They said, man, y'all made adjustments. Y'all kept us off the field. We couldn't move the ball anymore. We had to adapt and become a drop back and pass the ball offense. And when we did that, they couldn't move the ball. So very major credit to this defense. Like you said, they scored 21 in the first quarter. Early in the second quarter, they were 28-0. They scored 7 points the rest of the way. And basically, 2+, almost 3 quarters, they scored 7 points the rest of the game. So, our defense really stepped up and, like they have many times this season, kind of led us to victory. Luckily our offense was right there with them and clicking this game. Really shined themselves. But the defense did what they had to do, stepped up, had a lot of guys make plays. So the defense definitely gets an A, in my opinion. Can't wait for this one. What about special teams? What's your grade for them?
Oh, boy. I mean, Lucas Carnerio, 1 of 1 on field goals, 5 of 5 on extra points. Corey Munson had only out there for 2 punts, had 80 yards, average of 40. I know some people said that, I saw a replay of Corey Munson, like his freshman year, whenever he came out there, his first year at the end of the bowl game, came out there, kicked that walk-off field goal to win the game. And I thought it would have been poetic justice, I guess, to allow him to come back out there and to end, to win this bowl game in a walk-off field goal. But hey, I ain't going to be mad at the results that we got. 2 block field goals from special teams. So if I had anything above an A+, they would get it. But I'm going to give them an A++ because they played their butts off and was very instrumental in us winning this game.
Yeah, an A+ is definitely the answer for this one. I mean, the 2 block kicks in a game, it's rare you see 1 block kick in a game. It doesn't happen very often. I can count, it feels like the last time we blocked a kick was like, it really wasn't, but Deion Yoder at MTSU, that's the last one I remember us blocking back in 2016, I think it was. Obviously, we have block kicks since then, but just impactful blocking kicks change the trajectory of a game. We blocked 2 of those. If they had hit their first one, it becomes a 2-possession game. If they hit the second one, they're up in overtime, and we have to have at least a field goal to force a second overtime. So it just changes the whole script of the game if we're not blocking those field goals. So just amazing work by our special teams. Guys step up. They made plays. And the game was wild. Special teams gets an A. They have been our most consistent offensive phase all year. That didn't change in the bowl game. They stepped up, made plays, A++, like you said. What about coaching in this bowl game?
I wish the coaching we got in this bowl game, we got all year long, because it seemed like everything was flowing together. Defense, like you said, defense was working with offense. We got down and they fought their way back. They made changes when they need to. They made adjustments. So in this game, I'm going to have to give them an A+ as well. Like I said, they're all good. They saw what was happening with Helton and his QB. They made a change. They just didn't keep banging their head against the wall like I feel like they did sometimes earlier in the season. Not necessarily with the QB play, but with just making adjustments to the game and how the game was going.
Yeah, the coaches definitely get an A for me. I mean, Caden touched on it earlier. I mean, the game plan, the preparation, everything for this game was on point. The only thing that wasn't on point early in this game was execution. I mean, when you're turning the ball over, you're fumbling, throwing interceptions, etc. When you have 5 turnovers in any game, the percentage of chance that you win that ball game are slim to none generally. And like I said earlier, there was a 1% chance, on ESPN's game tracker, that we'd win that game early in the second quarter when we were down 28-0. 1% chance. But this coaching staff kept at it. They stuck with the script. They stuck with the game plan. The defense made adjustments to the RPO. We forced them to become a game planning team. They had to drop back and pass the ball some. Turn the ball over, start going 3 and out, give us the ball back, give us the momentum. Caden, marching them down the field, leading them to touchdowns. Dalvin making insane catches. Jimmy Holiday making insane catches. Easton Messer, River Helms, just everybody, man. Just everybody got in on this victory. And it was all about that coaching and the game plan. And I was really happy with the way it played out. I know early it looked bleak. Me watching it, I was at Buffalo Wild Wings watching. I wasn't I wasn't optimistic about how this game would end early. When it was 21-0, 28-0, even when it was a one-score game and we went down, we fumbled again. The fifth turnover with, I think there was 5-6 minutes left to go in the game. I was like, man, that's probably the nail in the coffin. It's not going to happen. But we forced them 3 and out. Had another opportunity. Went down there and scored. And the coach, and that's all about coaching. That's what it is. That's, you have to make guys believe that they can do something that they don't think they can do. And they did it. They went out there and executed, played ball, kept their head down, just kept doing it, not worrying about what the score was. Just go out there, compete, try to put points on the board. Tied the game up with under a minute to go in the game, forced overtime, blocked another field goal, made a field goal to win the game. Threw toast all over the field, made toast angels, ate the toast. Great bowl game victory, man. I was so happy to see it. Really, it was a nice, kind of a punctuation, an exclamation point to the season that, you could otherwise say may have been disappointing given the preseason expectations. But at the end of the day, it's all about winning a ring. And we did that in this bowl game. We may have unveiled, the next great WKU quarterback. We don't know, none of us know right now what that future is going to hold for him. We talked about that in his interview. That transfer portal decision is one that he and only he can make for what is best for him in the future. But if he decides to come back and we see more stats from him, we got a good glimpse of what he can do when those lights do come on. You give him the keys to the offense. It looked pretty good. It was nice to see that. We know that, next year's schedule is going to be tough. We open at Alabama. But, this year is now, officially the book is closed. Transfer portal's open. People are transferring out. There will be people transferring in. The portal giveth, the portal taketh away. I'm sure that will be one of our next episodes. Main topics, National Signing Day, the early signing day, was just the past couple of days. We've had a lot of new signees. We'll talk about them. There's just going to be a lot of movement. That is what college football is these days. There's a lot of movement in and out. But I trust our coaches, our staff, etc., to put us in the best position to be successful and win ball games. And I'm looking forward to next season. I know we're still a lot of days away from August getting here and that Alabama game happening and kicking off. But, there's a lot of portal news, transfers, signees, spring ball, fall ball, competition for depth chart, starting positions, etc., that we're going to get to cover between now and then. And I can't wait because, football season is where it's at. But we will be transitioning into, basketball centric coverage. And I also can't wait for that because Steve Lutz has an amazing and an exciting team brewing over there, winning a lot of ball games. Just an exciting brand of basketball that we haven't seen in a lot of years on the Hill. So it's always a good day to be a Hilltopper, man. I'm really excited and happy we got to recap this game, especially with the MVP himself, Caden Veltkamp. And I look forward to continued coverage of football, portal, basketball, just everything going on in Hilltopper Sports Universe. Tyler, what about you? Give us your final words and take us the heck out of here.
Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Elijah Young on that touchdown catch and run that he had where he hurdled over a defensive player. I was thinking about that today whenever, we were talking about this and I was making my notes. But, dude, this game, and I'm also glad to have my voice back. I know if you listen to the last episode, my voice was really bad. I was battling a real bad sinus infection. So my silky baritone voice is indeed back in either in your ears or coming at your computer speakers. But no, this game was an amazing game to end to I guess be a bookend to a good season. There's a few games I wish we could go back and replay. But we'll end the season where it is. I'm looking forward to next college football season and spring ball and talking about all the new commits we got here on the show. Our next basketball game is at home Saturday, December 30th versus Abilene Christian at 2 p.m. And then we open conference play with Liberty coming to visit us, and I do not want to hear their little LU thing just drowning out the Go Tops there in Diddle. So we're going to need Hilltopper Nation to definitely come out and fill the seats and stands up. Saturday, December 30th and June 6th. We will talk about that, I'm sure, in our next episode or in the upcoming episodes. But man, I mean, that I said it earlier, that bowl game, Famous Toastery Bowl, is a game that I will not soon forget. Because I was going crazy at work. A dude at work, he left early. He was texting me. I was listening. I think he was watching it. He was getting it a few seconds earlier than I was. So he was always like, it's a block field goal. And I was like, man, I'm still waiting on that. I had another buddy text me. He was like, man, this game is crazy. I was like, I know. I mean, this comeback was miraculous. I mentioned that earlier in the interview with Caden, but man, I mean, this is something that's what, as a sports fan, you live for. Games like that, comebacks like that. And I even put on Twitter that we had to spot ODU, 21, 28 points just to make it entertaining, because if not, it would have been embarrassing. But, I will finish it out with Go Tops. Great football season. Basketball season's coming at you. 10-3. Lutz has something special brewing over there in Diddle. Everybody needs to come out, fill Diddle out, and get that Diddle magic happening again. I better be careful my words there. But as always, Moff, who has better than us, man?
Nobody, buddy.
Nobody.
Go Tops.
Go Tops, y'all.
Later, guys.